The RCM button is an optional button that you can place on the system by using the admin menu. Click on the RCM button, select the project you'd like to work on, then click on the tree button. Hide the library to make more space. Click on the display heading button at the top of the screen to hide or show the function, functional failure, failure mode and countermeasure headings. One of the benefits of RCM is that it provides a framework, a set of steps to work through. And the first step is to look at the functions that the equipment might have. In this case, we're looking at a coffee percolator. What are the functions of a coffee percolator? Well, this particular one has to brew 6 cups of coffee. It has to be able to maintain the coffee temperature within a certain range, and in this particular case the coffee percolator has an alarm feature which in this case it must be able to brew coffee at 7 AM. Okay, so we've identified a few functions, and no doubt if we spent more time we could identify more functions for this coffee percolator. Of course, as our information and knowledge about the equipment grows, we can come back and add more functions. Let's look at the next level, the functional failures. You'll see that I'm typing in to the functional failure box the various ways that the equipment can fail to deliver against the required function. For example, it's required to brew 6 cups of coffee. Well, one functional failure may be that it simply doesn't brew any coffee at all. Another functional failure might be that it brews coffee but less than 6 cups, so it fails to brew the full 6 cups. Another function is that it's designed to maintain the coffee within a certain temperature range. Well, it may be that the temperature's about right, but it fluctuates too much, so it does not maintain the temperature. Another functional failure might be that it maintains the temperature at a regular amount, but the temperature that it maintains at is too low, so that the functional failure is that the coffee is maintained too low. I'll speed the video up to save a little bit of time. Okay, so we've listed the functional failures that we can identify. If we click in the top right hand corner of the functional failure box, we'll see a red box appear, which is the failure mode box. What we can do is list out the various ways that the equipment might fail in order to deliver the functional failure. For example, it fails to brew coffee at all was the functional failure. The failure mode could be that there's a loss of power to the equipment. Perhaps the circuit breaker tends to activate because we're drawing too much current with the percolator. Or it could be that the on-off switch fails, perhaps it burns out, or there could be several other reasons. So we would list the various ways that the equipment might fail in the failure mode box. I guess you can see how this pattern is developing, so I'll speed the video up a little bit to save a bit of time. Now that we have identified the failure modes, we can start to set in place our countermeasures. Let's look at the failure of the on-off switch. We need to know more about the failure mode in order to define the appropriate countermeasure. Let's say that the switch tends to fail randomly. The switch tends to become stiff and difficult to use, and in time does not turn on or off. There is no hazard associated with this failure. We know that if a request to change the switch is made when it first starts to become stiff, then there will not be a complete failure of the switch, and coffee will always be available. It is a good idea to put some notes in the detail screen to record our thinking to help if we ever come back to reinvestigate. Now that we have a better understanding of the failure mode, we can click on the decision tree menu. This decision tree was originally developed by Nolan and Heap, who created the reliability-centered maintenance concept. Let's follow the logic on the tree. Is the occurrence of a failure evident to the operating crew during performance of normal duties? The answer is yes. So let's look at the next question. Does the failure cause a loss of function or secondary damage that could have a direct adverse effect on operating safety? The answer is no. So let's look at the next question. Does the failure have a direct adverse effect on operational capability? The answer is yes. So click on the yes button. This tree lists the countermeasures in order of desirability. The first question asks, is an on-condition task to detect potential failures both applicable and effective? The answer is yes. The percolator must be cleaned daily. We can add an item to our cleaning process for the operator to check that the switch moves freely. If it does not, then a work order must be raised to replace the switch. We can also ask how critical this problem is. There is no hazard, and experience has shown that if this problem does occur, then the financial loss is very small. We can record our understanding of how critical the problem is on the criticality menu. In this case, I have color-coded the criticality as blue. And blue is 3 on a scale of 0 to 10. Every different company will have a different way of categorizing criticality. I hope you've enjoyed this short presentation, which has been designed to show you how the RCA2Go software can support a traditional approach to RCM.